This is an interesting one. Heat are -7.5 at home. Total here is 208.5. And it's interesting because Joel Embiid will not be playing tonight. He's out for the first two games at least, could return for game 3 or 4. He's got that orbital fracture and a concussion. Alex, as a Sixers fan, what do you think with Embiid sitting out for these first couple of games?
I don't think he should play until his eyeball is no longer broken. I mean, we're talking about something where if he goes out and he gets hit in the face again, I mean, he could lose the eye. So, I generally, not even just as a Sixers fan, as a human being worried about another human being's eyeballs, like it's good that they're going to wait and try to, give a little break here. It's just a shame. It's a shame he was on the floor. It's a shame he got hurt. But here we are. The Miami Heat are a terrible matchup for the Sixers anyway. I mean, Bam Adebayo does a nice job on Embiid when he is on the floor. They have a couple guards that they can throw at James Harden. Tyler Hero is just a nightmare for the Sixers. They don't really have anybody to guard him. So I think this was going to be a tough series anyway. I know Spoelstra is going to have a lot of fun trying to pick apart this lineup with no Embiid covering it up. I'm just going to wait and see what it looks like. We've had a bunch of games without Embiid this season, but very few without Embiid and with James Harden in. So curious to see how the lineup looks. I thought about maybe taking an over here. I'll watch the game and probably jump on that live over early if it looks like the pace is pretty quick. But yeah, to answer your question specifically, I'm happy that Joel Embiid is not playing in a game where he could really get a serious injury, especially in a series that I honestly don't expect them to win. I just, let's all cross our fingers and hope this doesn't save Glenn Rivers' job.
Glenn, love it. Yeah, I mean, you don't want Joel Embiid to not be able to play basketball for years to come. That would be terrible. Philly's bench in this last series, or I guess throughout the entire playoffs, all the teams, was the last in scoring in the first round. So they don't really have the depth that the Heat has. Harden only shot 31% from three-point this season. So I think that the Sixers could really struggle scoring against a Miami Heat team that has a fantastic defense. Chris, do you lean Heat, Sixers, any side?
I really can't take a side on this one. I think it's pretty sharp, but it's still a pretty big number, right? This is the playoffs. Heat are 7.5-point favorites. It makes sense, obviously, with Embiid out, and we're about to see, a lot of that talk about the competition between him and Jokic and how important Embiid is for his team. Oh, he's important. And I think we're going to see just how important he is for the 76ers tonight. Most of us, probably know that, but that it's the sole reason why I really can't trust the Sixers tonight either. If I would have to take a side, it would be the Heat. But again, the number's pretty big for a playoff game, for a talented Sixers team who, they've seen this team plenty in the past, right? They faced each other four times in the regular season. They tied that series. But I think it's going to be really, really tough for the 76ers to create offense tonight. We know how good the Heat defense is. They're really good at the rim. They've been even better against the three-point shot in the playoffs. 76ers team is kind of up and down with that anyway. But now they might have to rely on that even more, especially if they get lost in this game and they go behind. Kyle Lowry is out of this game as well. I think that's going to slow down the pace even more. If you look at the two games that the Miami Heat won in the regular season against the 76ers, they're very low-scoring games. So I think maybe a look at the under or 76ers team total under is probably a pretty fair look at this one. If you go under 100 points, you can get a pretty decent line for that as well. And the 76ers could still win this game, but just not score 100 points, right? Because it's probably going to be a very slow-paced game. That being said, Embiid out probably increases the pace a little bit for Philly. So there's a lot of competing narratives here, but in short, I mean, you're giving me, and our listeners probably know this, not a lot of fans of Glenn Doc Rivers on the show. We're talking about a big responsibility on him against the Miami Heat team at home, who's in a great spot now. And this is going to be an offense that's going to be led with a lot of ball handling by James Harden. I don't trust that. It's not going to be Embiid-centric anymore, obviously, with him on the bench. So it's a tough game, and I think the line is right, but I would think that the Heat are going to have a lot more success than the 76ers tonight.
Well, no official play for any of us on this game. We're all just going to sit back, relax, and enjoy the action.